Imagine if I told you that something you can do right now, in just 10 seconds, without any equipment, without pills, without leaving your chair, could help support your brain, your circulation, and your stroke risk after 60. Sounds almost too simple, right? Most people think stroke prevention means complicated exercises, expensive supplements, or long routines they'll never stick to. But what if one of Japan's oldest doctors, someone who has lived through generations of medical change, quietly shared a tiny daily habit that most people completely overlook, a simple tongue movement? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why this works, but you'll be able to do it confidently and make it part of your everyday life. A simple 10-second tongue movement may sound insignificant at first, but when you understand how the body works, it becomes clear why such a small action can have a meaningful impact, especially after the age of 60. As the body ages, it responds better to gentle, consistent stimulation rather than intense effort. This tongue movement does not rely on strength or endurance, yet it directly engages muscles and nerves that communicate with the brain. The tongue is one of the most active and neurologically connected muscles in the body, linked to areas responsible for balance, circulation, breathing, and blood pressure regulation. By activating it intentionally, even for just a few seconds, you send a signal to the nervous system that encourages better coordination and awareness throughout the head and neck region. For many older adults, stroke risk increases not only because of blood vessel changes, but also due to reduced neural activation and chronic tension in the jaw, throat, and neck. Over time, these areas can become stiff and underused, limiting sensory feedback to the brain. This lack of stimulation can affect how efficiently the brain regulates blood flow and pressure. A gentle tongue movement wakes up these pathways without placing stress on the body, making it suitable for people of all fitness levels. There is no need for special equipment, physical exertion, or long routines, which removes common barriers that prevent seniors from maintaining healthy habits. What makes this practice especially powerful is its simplicity and accessibility. 10 seconds is short enough to fit into any daily routine, whether someone is sitting, standing, or lying down. Because it does not require effort or preparation, it is more likely to be practiced consistently. Consistency is where real benefits begin to appear. Repeating this small action daily reinforces neural connections and supports smoother communication between the brain and body. Over time, this can contribute to more stable circulation patterns and a calmer nervous system state, both of which are important for reducing stroke risk. Another key aspect of this tongue movement is that it naturally pairs with slow, controlled breathing. When the tongue presses gently against the roof of the mouth, it encourages nasal breathing and discourages shallow mouth breathing. Nasal breathing helps regulate oxygen intake, supports nitric oxide production, and promotes healthier blood vessel function. These effects, though subtle, accumulate over time and support overall cardiovascular health. For older adults who may experience anxiety or poor sleep, this calming effect on the nervous system can be especially valuable. Rather than overwhelming the body, this simple practice works with it. It respects age-related changes while still encouraging movement, awareness, and circulation. Many traditional Japanese longevity practices are based on this principle, focusing on small daily actions that support the body quietly and steadily. This tongue movement fits perfectly into that philosophy, offering a realistic and sustainable way for seniors to actively participate in their health without fear or strain. Over time, such small habits can create a foundation of resilience and balance that supports long-term brain and heart health. The tongue is often overlooked when people think about health, yet it plays a critical role in how the brain communicates with the rest of the body. It is directly connected to several cranial nerves that originate in the brainstem, an area responsible for regulating vital functions such as heart rate, blood pressure, breathing rhythm and blood flow to the brain. As people age, these communication pathways can become less responsive, not because they are damaged, but because they are rarely stimulated with intention. Gentle tongue activation helps reawaken these pathways, encouraging clearer and more efficient signaling between the brain and the body. One of the most important connections involved is the vagus nerve, which plays a central role in calming the nervous system and maintaining cardiovascular balance. When the tongue presses against the roof of the mouth or moves deliberately, it sends sensory input through the cranial nerves to the brainstem. This input helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, often referred to as the body's rest and regulation mode. When this system is engaged, blood vessels relax, heart rate becomes more stable, and blood pressure fluctuations are reduced. Over time, this state of regulation supports healthier blood flow to the brain, which is crucial for stroke prevention. Many older adults unknowingly carry tension in their jaw, tongue, and throat. This tension can interfere with normal nerve signaling and restrict movement in the neck, where major blood vessels supply the brain. When the tongue remains passive or tight for long periods, the brain receives less sensory feedback from this area. The brain relies on constant feedback to adjust circulation and posture. By gently activating the tongue, you restore this feedback loop, helping the brain make more accurate adjustments to blood flow and muscle tone. Another key benefit of tongue activation is its influence on breathing patterns. Proper tongue position supports nasal breathing, which is slower and more efficient than mouth breathing. Nasal breathing improves oxygen exchange and supports the production of nitric oxide, a molecule that helps dilate blood vessels and improve circulation. Improved breathing efficiency reduces strain on the cardiovascular system and supports consistent oxygen delivery to the brain. For seniors, this can mean improved clarity, balance, and overall energy levels. Over time, regular tongue movement can also improve coordination between the muscles of the mouth, throat, and neck. This coordination supports safer swallowing and clearer speech, both of which rely on intact nerve communication. These improvements are signs that the nervous system is functioning more smoothly. When neural communication improves, the body becomes better at maintaining internal balance, even under stress. Rather than requiring effort or intensity, tongue activation works through awareness and repetition. It gently reminds the brain of connections that may have been neglected over the years. This makes it an ideal practice for older adults who want to support brain health and circulation without overexertion. By engaging the tongue regularly, you help maintain the integrity of neural pathways that influence blood pressure, breathing, and cerebral blood flow, creating a quiet but powerful foundation for long-term neurological and cardiovascular stability as the body ages. The risk of stroke tends to rise for several interconnected reasons, many of which develop slowly and quietly over time. Blood vessels naturally lose some of their elasticity after 60, making it harder for them to adjust smoothly to changes in blood pressure. This stiffness can place extra strain on the cardiovascular system, especially during moments of stress, poor sleep, or sudden movement. At the same time, long-term low-grade inflammation becomes more common with age, further affecting blood vessel health and circulation to the brain. These changes alone increase risk, but they are often made worse by daily habits that go unnoticed. One of the most overlooked contributors is chronic tension in the jaw, neck, and throat. Many seniors clench their jaw during stress, breathe shallowly through the mouth, or hold tension in the neck without realizing it. Over years, this constant tightness can restrict natural movement and reduce healthy blood flow through the arteries that supply the brain. The neck is a critical passageway for circulation, and when muscles in this area are stiff or compressed, blood flow efficiency can decline. This doesn't usually cause immediate symptoms, which is why it often goes unnoticed until a more serious issue appears. Shallow breathing is another major factor. As people age, breathing patterns often become shorter and less efficient, especially in those who are sedentary or anxious. Shallow breathing keeps the body in a mild state of stress, raising cortisol levels and encouraging higher blood pressure. This constant low-level stress response puts additional pressure on blood vessels and the heart. Over time, this environment increases the likelihood of circulation problems that can contribute to stroke risk. Lack of gentle movement also plays a role. While many people associate movement with exercise, small internal movements are just as important. When areas like the tongue, jaw, and throat are rarely activated intentionally, the brain receives less sensory input from these regions. The brain depends on this input to regulate posture, circulation, and balance. Reduced sensory feedback can make these regulatory systems less precise, especially under stress or fatigue. The gentle tongue practice described in this routine helps counter these age-related challenges without demanding effort or strength. By softly activating the tongue and surrounding muscles, tension in the jaw and neck begins to release. This release improves mobility in the neck area, supporting better blood flow to the brain. At the same time, the movement encourages slower, deeper nasal breathing, which calms the nervous system and helps stabilize blood pressure. Rather than forcing change, this approach works by restoring natural function that may have diminished with age. It addresses multiple contributors to stroke risk at once, including tension, poor breathing, and reduced neural activation. Because it is gentle and easy to repeat, it fits well into daily life and can be practiced even by those with limited mobility. Over time, these small corrections help the body maintain better circulation, balance, and internal regulation, supporting brain health in a way that feels safe, realistic, and sustainable. Pressing and sliding the tongue along the roof of the mouth while breathing slowly may appear simple, but it creates a powerful chain reaction inside the body that directly affects the nervous system. This gentle action stimulates sensory receptors connected to cranial nerves, particularly those that communicate with the brainstem. The brainstem acts as a control center for many automatic functions, including heart rate, blood pressure regulation, and breathing rhythm. When these nerves are gently activated, the brain receives signals that promote balance rather than stress, helping the body shift out of a constant alert state and into a calmer, more regulated mode. One of the most important systems influenced by this tongue movement is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve plays a central role in activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest, recovery, and internal stability. Slow tongue pressure combined with controlled breathing sends calming input through this nerve, helping reduce excessive sympathetic activity that keeps the body tense and overstimulated. For many people over 60, the nervous system is often stuck in a low-grade stress response due to years of anxiety, poor sleep, or health concerns. This simple practice gently nudges the body toward relaxation without forcing it. Breathing plays a critical role in amplifying this effect. When the tongue rests against the roof of the mouth, it naturally encourages nasal breathing instead of mouth breathing. Nasal breathing is slower and deeper, allowing better oxygen exchange and supporting the production of nitric oxide, which helps blood vessels relax and widen. As breathing becomes more efficient, the heart does not have to work as hard, and blood pressure becomes more stable. This combination of tongue position and breathing creates a feedback loop that supports calmer circulation and improved blood flow to the brain. Sliding the tongue backward along the roof of the mouth also gently engages muscles in the throat and upper neck. These muscles are closely linked to posture and airway stability. When they are activated softly and intentionally, tension that has built up over years can begin to release. This release improves mobility in the neck region, where major arteries supply blood to the brain. Improved neck mobility and reduced muscular tension allow blood to flow more freely, supporting brain health and reducing strain on the cardiovascular system. Over time, practicing this movement regularly can improve awareness of breathing and body posture. Many people begin to notice when they are holding tension or breathing shallowly, and can correct it naturally. This increased awareness helps prevent the build-up of stress that contributes to blood pressure spikes and circulation problems. The practice does not overwhelm the body, but instead restores a natural rhythm between breathing, nerve activity, and muscle coordination. Because this movement is gentle and controlled, it is especially suitable for older adults who may not tolerate intense exercise. It provides a safe way to stimulate the nervous system and promote calmness without risk. With consistent practice, the combined effects of vagus nerve activation, improved breathing, and reduced tension help create a more balanced internal environment that supports long-term cardiovascular and neurological health. When this gentle tongue practice is done consistently each day, the benefits begin to extend far beyond the initial movement itself, especially for seniors. One of the first changes many people notice is a greater sense of awareness in the mouth, throat, and neck. Areas that once felt tight or disconnected start to feel more responsive and relaxed. This increased awareness helps the body move more efficiently, reducing unnecessary tension that often builds up with age. As tension decreases, the nervous system no longer needs to stay on high alert, which supports a calmer internal state throughout the day. Over time, regular tongue movement improves coordination between the tongue, jaw, and throat muscles. This coordination is essential for safe swallowing, clear speech, and comfortable breathing. Many older adults experience subtle swallowing difficulties or a feeling of dryness in the mouth, often due to reduced muscle activity and nerve signaling. Gentle tongue activation stimulates saliva production, helping keep the mouth moist and supporting oral health. Better saliva flow also protects teeth and gums and reduces the risk of infections that can affect overall health. Neck comfort is another area where consistent practice makes a noticeable difference. Chronic neck stiffness is common in seniors and can limit movement while affecting blood flow to the brain. By engaging the tongue and throat muscles daily, tension in the neck begins to release naturally. This release improves mobility and posture, making it easier to hold the head in a balanced position. Better posture reduces strain on the spine and supports smoother circulation through the neck arteries. Mental and emotional benefits are also closely tied to this practice. As the nervous system becomes more regulated, many people report feeling calmer and more grounded. Stress responses soften, and reactions to daily challenges feel less intense. This emotional steadiness is not just a mental experience, but a physical one, reflecting improved communication between the brain and body. Reduced stress has a direct positive effect on blood pressure and heart health, which is especially important after 60. Another subtle but meaningful benefit is improved body coordination and balance. The tongue plays a role in spatial awareness and posture, and activating it regularly enhances sensory feedback to the brain. This feedback helps the brain make quicker and more accurate adjustments to movement, reducing the risk of imbalance. For seniors, improved balance can mean greater confidence in daily activities and a lower risk of falls. What makes these benefits truly valuable is that they come from a practice that is gentle, safe, and easy to maintain. There is no strain, no pressure to perform, and no risk of overexertion. The body responds gradually, adapting at its own pace. Over weeks and months, these small improvements accumulate, supporting overall coordination, relaxation, and internal balance. This kind of steady progress aligns perfectly with the needs of aging bodies, offering a realistic and sustainable way to support long-term health and quality of life. Small, gentle habits practiced consistently have long been a cornerstone of longevity traditions in Japan, especially among older generations who prioritize balance over intensity. Rather than pushing the body through extreme routines, These traditions focus on daily actions that quietly support natural function. The philosophy behind this approach is simple but powerful. The body responds best to respect, patience, and repetition. After the age of 60, recovery slows, joints become more sensitive, and the nervous system can become easily overstimulated. Gentle practices help maintain health without creating additional stress, making them far more sustainable over the long term. In Japanese culture, health is often viewed as something maintained through daily care rather than repaired after something goes wrong. This mindset encourages people to pay attention to small signals from the body and respond early. A short daily habit, such as gentle tongue activation, fits perfectly into this way of thinking. It does not demand time, strength, or special conditions, which removes common barriers that cause people to abandon health routines. Because the habit is easy, it becomes repeatable, and repetition is what allows the body to adapt and improve. Consistency plays a much larger role in long-term health than intensity, especially when it comes to brain and cardiovascular function. The nervous system thrives on regular input that signals safety and stability. When a gentle habit is practiced every day, it trains the body to maintain a calmer baseline state. Over time, this helps regulate blood pressure, breathing patterns, and circulation more effectively than sporadic bursts of effort. This steady regulation is particularly important for reducing stroke risk, which is strongly influenced by chronic stress, tension, and irregular blood flow. Japanese longevity practices also emphasize working with the body's natural rhythms. Small habits performed daily align with how the body prefers to learn and adapt. Instead of overwhelming the system, these practices reinforce healthy patterns gradually. The tongue movement described earlier is an example of this principle in action. It gently stimulates nerves and muscles without fatigue, allowing older adults to engage their nervous system safely. This type of stimulation keeps neural pathways active and responsive, supporting better communication between the brain and the cardiovascular system. Another important aspect of these traditions is accessibility. A habit that can be done anywhere, at any time, is far more likely to become part of daily life. This inclusiveness is key for seniors who may have limited mobility or energy. When health practices feel achievable, people are more likely to stay engaged and feel empowered rather than discouraged. This sense of empowerment reduces fear around aging and encourages a proactive approach to health. Over decades, small daily habits can shape how the body ages. They help preserve balance, coordination, and internal regulation, which are essential for independence and quality of life. By focusing on gentle consistency rather than dramatic effort, Japanese longevity traditions offer a realistic model for aging well. These quiet, repeated actions may not feel dramatic in the moment, but over time they create a stable foundation that supports brain health, cardiovascular resilience, and a sense of calm confidence as the body grows older